Have you ever walked into a grocery store with every intention of saving money, only to walk out wondering how a few bags somehow emptied your wallet? It feels like food prices keep climbing, and yet our budgets definitely don't magically stretch with them. But here's the interesting part. Some foods stay consistently affordable, last a long time, and can cover a surprising number of meals. Most people walk right past them without realizing how much they could save, and that's what we'll expose today. When someone is trying to cut costs, groceries are usually one of the first places where small changes make a big difference. Not by restricting or eating less, but simply by choosing foods that give the biggest return for what they cost. These are foods people often overlook, but they can really stabilize a budget and reduce stress around meal planning. So today, let's look at the foods that stretch your money the farthest and still keep things enjoyable. Before we jump in, feel free to like to support the channel and subscribe for more financial content if you enjoy videos that make saving money feel a little easier. Let's start with something that shows up in almost every culture: rice. Rice is one of the most budget-friendly staples in the world. What makes it interesting is not just that it's cheap, it's how many meals it quietly supports. It works with beans, vegetables, eggs, soups, stir-fries, stews, and leftovers people might otherwise throw out. A large bag can last weeks, even months, depending on the household size, which instantly stretches a grocery budget. One of the reasons rice is considered a smart budget choice is how predictable its cost usually is. Prices don't swing wildly like some fresh foods, and since it stores well, people can buy it in bulk when the price is low and keep it for a long time. Many families learned that during tough financial years, rice becomes the backbone of affordable meals. Another thing people don't always consider is how flexible rice is with flavor. It can taste completely different depending on seasonings, sauces, or what it's paired with. That means budget meals don't have to feel repetitive. When a single ingredient can support dozens of recipes without getting boring, that ingredient tends to save a lot of money over time. And with different types like white, brown, jasmine, or basmati, people can choose whatever fits their cooking style while still keeping costs low. There's a reason rice has been relied on for generations. It fills you up, it's versatile, and it protects the wallet. Now let's look at something people often underestimate: oats. Oats are one of the rare foods that stay inexpensive, even when prices rise elsewhere. What surprises many people is that oats aren't limited to breakfast. Sure, they're great in oatmeal or overnight oats, but they also appear in baking, smoothies, granola, energy bites, and even savory dishes. A big container of oats can create a lot of meals for just a few dollars. And because they're shelf-stable, there's no pressure to use them quickly. People can take their time and stretch their grocery trips further apart. Another point worth considering is that oats adapt easily to flavor. If someone wants something warm and comforting, oats work. If they want something cold and simple, oats work again. They're one of these ingredients that fix the "what do I eat that doesn't cost much" problem. This is one of the simplest ways to cut grocery spending without sacrificing variety. Next up, let's talk about potatoes. Potatoes are one of the most underrated foods when it comes to saving money. They're extremely versatile and they store well for long periods when kept in the right conditions. Many grocery lists include potatoes out of habit, but not everyone realizes how powerful they are for reducing food costs. Mashed, baked, roasted, boiled, pan-fried, potatoes show up in almost every form and fit into almost every cuisine. Because of that, families can use potatoes several times a week without meals feeling repetitive, and the cost per serving is incredibly low compared to most other foods. Potatoes also pair well with small amounts of ingredients that might otherwise go to waste. A few vegetables, leftover meat, herbs, or spices can turn into a complete meal when combined with potatoes. Instead of buying a whole new set of ingredients, people can repurpose what they already have. There's also a wide range of potato types: russet, red, gold, sweet potatoes, and more. They behave differently in cooking, which adds even more variety without increasing the budget. Another strong budget staple worth noting: beans. Beans consistently rank among the cheapest protein sources available. They come in canned or dry form, and both offer big savings, though dried beans stretch money the farthest. They're used in stews, soups, burritos, salads, rice bowls, chilies, dips, and more. They can fit almost any flavor profile depending on spices and sauces. One thing people often appreciate about beans is how filling they are. A single bag of dried beans can provide many servings at a fraction of the price of meat. And because beans store well, they reduce the pressure to constantly restock the fridge. Canned beans are slightly more expensive than dried ones, but still remain low cost and incredibly convenient. And they're helpful for anyone who wants cheap meals but doesn't have time for long cooking sessions. When paired with rice or vegetables, beans can easily become one of the most budget-friendly meal bases available. Let's move to one that often surprises people: frozen vegetables. Fresh vegetables are great, but sometimes their prices jump around. Frozen vegetables, on the other hand, stay relatively stable and often cost far less per serving. They're picked at peak ripeness, frozen quickly, and kept stable for a long time. That means people can get consistent quality without worrying about waste. One of the biggest benefits of frozen vegetables is that you can use only what you need. Instead of buying fresh vegetables that spoil after a few days, frozen ones allow someone to take a handful or a cup at a time. This cuts down on waste, which indirectly saves more money. They also work extremely well in stir-fries, rice dishes, pastas, soups, casseroles, and side dishes. People often assume frozen vegetables are lower quality than fresh, but they hold up surprisingly well. Someone could build an entire weekly meal plan around frozen vegetables and never worry about produce going bad. Another budget smart food: pasta. Pasta has long been a go-to for anyone trying to save money. It's cheap, it's shelf-stable, and a single box can feed several people. What makes pasta especially helpful is how well it works with inexpensive sauces, vegetables, canned tomatoes, cheese alternatives, and simple toppings. The amount of meals pasta can create is huge: soups, casseroles, pasta salads, stir-fry style dishes, simple weeknight dinners, or meal prep lunches. Even a basic pasta with garlic and olive oil can cost far less per serving than most other meals. For many people, pasta is one of the easiest ways to stretch ingredients. Leftover vegetables, leftover meat, leftover sauce, or even leftover broth can all be turned into something new. That flexibility helps reduce food waste, which is an underrated part of saving money. Let's look at another high-value option: eggs. Eggs may fluctuate in price depending on the time of year, but they remain one of the most cost-efficient sources of protein. What makes eggs especially useful for budget planning is how many meals they can create. Scrambled eggs, omelets, egg sandwiches, baking, fried rice, breakfast burritos, quiches, and more. Even when eggs aren't the star of the meal, they often enhance a dish without adding much cost. A single egg can complete a bowl of rice or noodles. A couple of eggs can turn leftover vegetables into a full meal. Eggs also cook quickly, which saves time as well as money. When someone wants a fast meal that doesn't require expensive ingredients, eggs are almost always a reliable solution. Because they work for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, they fit different routines easily. Now let's talk about something that stays affordable almost everywhere: bananas. Bananas are one of the cheapest fruits in most grocery stores. They work as snacks, breakfast add-ons, smoothie ingredients, baking add-ins, or toppings for oats and cereal. Their versatility helps people include more fruit without raising their grocery bill. Even if bananas start to ripen too quickly, they can be used in recipes that rely on soft bananas. Banana bread, muffins, pancakes, and smoothies all make good use of them, which reduces waste and stretches money further. While bananas aren't meant to replace other fruits entirely, they help balance shopping trips so that people don't depend solely on higher-priced produce. When budgets are tight, bananas often become the simple and dependable option that keeps fruit in the diet without financial stress. They also tend to be widely available year-round at a stable price, which makes grocery planning easier. Another budget-friendly powerhouse: peanut butter. Peanut butter may rise and fall in price occasionally, but it remains one of the most cost-efficient foods when looking at how many servings it provides. A single jar can support sandwiches, snacks, sauces, smoothies, baking, and energy bites. It pairs extremely well with other low-cost foods such as bananas, oats, apples, bread, and rice cakes. People often turn to peanut butter during tight weeks because it creates filling meals with very little effort and very little money. It also stores well, which encourages fewer grocery trips. Long shelf life ingredients reduce stress, especially for those trying to stretch their food budget across multiple weeks. Whether someone prefers creamy or crunchy, peanut butter tends to stick around as one of the cheapest and most reliable foods to keep in the pantry. Let's finish the list with something that many people already buy: canned tomatoes. Canned tomatoes show up in soups, pastas, chili, stews, curries, and countless inexpensive meals. They cost a fraction of fresh tomatoes, especially out of season, and they come in many versions: crushed, diced, pureed, sauce, whole peeled, and more. Because they last a long time, people can stock up when they're on sale and keep them as a dependable meal builder. A single can of tomatoes can transform rice, pasta, vegetables, beans, or leftovers into something brand new. One thing people sometimes overlook is how canned tomatoes reduce the need to buy expensive pre-made sauces. With a few basic ingredients people may already have, canned tomatoes can create flavorful meals without driving up the grocery bill. They bring flexibility to meal planning, and their affordability makes them one of the most valuable pantry staples. So today we looked at 10 foods that consistently stretch budgets and support affordable meal planning: rice, oats, potatoes, beans, frozen vegetables, pasta, eggs, bananas, peanut butter, and canned tomatoes. These aren't the only budget-friendly foods out there, but they're reliable, timeless, and easy to build meals around. When someone focuses on cheap foods that are versatile, filling, and long-lasting, grocery spending usually becomes easier to control without feeling limited. If you've made it this far, here's something to think about. Which one of these foods saves you the most money, and which one do you want to start using more often? Drop it in the comments so others can get ideas too. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe for more financial content that helps make everyday choices a little easier on the wallet. All right, see you on the next one.